What? Cats. Oh, collagen. No question. I'm Andrea Page-McCaw. I'm a professor of cell and developmental biology at Vanderbilt. Well, I run, and I'm trying to learn how to play the guitar. I also like to read. My favorite molecule. I feel like it's a trick question, and I'm supposed to say collagen 4, but it might be water. I think really the first really exciting discovery was with Billy when we appreciated the role of bromide in supporting life through collagen 4 cross-linking. And then more recently, having set out in a very intentional way to try to understand basement membrane repair, was very exciting to identify these professional cells that we call the matrix menders that are that are part of the Drosophila gut that are able to repair collagen 4 damage. Oh, genetic analysis in Drosophila. That's our most common method, combined with imaging, live imaging and fixed imaging. I came in sideways because I was working with matrix metalloproteases, and my interest in those began with the many diseases that they were implicated in. And it seemed like there was a role for model organisms there to try to understand the biology. And then that turned out to be a really broad field, but once I was working on matrix metalloproteases, it was easy to slide sideways to matrix. So that's how I got there. Oh, my actual mentors, So I did my first mentor was Tim Bester in the Department of Cell Biology and Anatomy at Harvard Medical School. I was a technician with him, and that was my very first lab experience, and he was really a wonderful mentor. And then I think it's really entirely because of him that I have a career in science, and I worked with Terry Orr Weaver for my PhD at the Whitehead Institute and MIT. And then for my postdoctoral training, I worked with Jerry Rubin at UC Berkeley before he went off to found Genelia Farms at HHMI. Well, you're one of them, Sergey. And Jay Bave, and Billy Hudson, and Peter Yurchenko, I would say. My advice is to both think deeply about the problem that you're interested in and also to read broadly and engage broadly in science, because the most impactful science is done in a way that brings fields together. And so you have to have a view broad enough to be able to do that. My first ASMB meeting, I did not know very many people. And so I was a little, worried about like the cocktail party reception thing. And I was planning in my head what I might say to people I didn't know, getting a few stories ready. And I had just run my first half marathon. And that always got a lot of attention. And I thought, I could mention that. Except that usually when I told people I'd run my first half marathon in my late 40s, people would go, "Oh, that's amazing, wow." Except the first person I told this to was like, "Really? That's wonderful." And it was more of an attitude of, "That's so cute." And I realized that the matrix community seemed to be full of endurance athletes. And I began to use it as a test question to see how many long distance runners I could find. And almost everybody I spoke to had half marathon was nothing. They were on, trying to conquer the 6 world marathons, and they were halfway through. And then I finally met the president of ASMB that year, who was Sunil Apte. And I tried it on him, and I found out that he was an ultra runner, and he ran 100-mile and longer races. So that's when I realized that there was a real correlation between endurance athletes and matrix biology, and that was another way I knew I'd found my community.